Welcome back to Rounding the Bases, Extra Innings. Matt Lombardi, Kevin Moran. I hope you'll check us out on the audio side, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. I'd like to do 4 final Rounding the Bases questions, and we'll start with this one. Really simple. Let's talk a little bit about the product. Do you guys have a favorite product? That's probably a loaded question or an unfair question. It's like asking who's your favorite teammate or something like that. But what do you love, or what are you most proud of? Something along those lines, Matt.
It's definitely a product dream, and we have in powders and capsules and extra strength for both. But we launched a sea salt caramel flavor of the powder just a few weeks ago, and I might be stealing Kevin's answer too, but that right now is by far my favorite. We have a sort of our OG original chocolate flavor. It's like a hot chocolate at night. But the sea salt caramel, I don't know if it's just maybe the time of year getting into summer, kind of nostalgic. But just winding down at night with that, I think after a long day or chaotic day, stressful days, I think my favorite part is it works, but also it's just a yummy treat. It doesn't have any sugar in it, and it's kind of like a guiltless, simple pleasure at night, and then obviously helps you sleep.
Yeah, I might need to get my hands on that. The chocolate, by the way, is great, and I was.
We'll get you some more beam.
I was like, I don't think I've tried the sea salt caramel. Oh, that's why, because it's been in the last few weeks. Kevin, go on, please.
I love our sleep products too, but we have this product called Revive. It's kind of a silent assassin. It's good for anti-inflammation. It's turmeric, black pepper, ECGC, a bunch of other really good anti-inflammatory ingredients. So it's not the type of product that you take and you feel right away, but it's one of those things over time. Like I said, I do a lot of running and biking, what have you. It definitely helps with inflammation, just do more general wellness. So I take that every day. It's kind of almost like a multivitamin type of supplement for me.
All right, second question as we round the bases. 2 guys that have clicked since back in the BC days, different sports, covered all that on the audio side. How are the personalities different? How do they mesh? You guys have a lot of history here now together. I know you're different guys too.
I can start that, Joel. I always say, yeah. Matt, I always panic. Matt never panics. So it's like it's like a healthy version of like flatlining, like being like a flatline constantly, and then like a very high level of neurosis. And I think the combination of those two things, like we generally meet in the middle, which is probably healthy. I don't know, there's much to add there, Matt.
Yeah, no, it's just funny, Joel, too, just through being really good friends and now really good business partners, we're also forced to have really hard conversations with each other. I think in just normal friendships, it's great if you can have a friend you can be open and honest with. Although I think when it's just purely personal, it probably becomes harder to do that at times. I think being co-founders, it's forced us to have hard discussions. The team has seen us argue and yell at each other. And Kevin made a joke, early in the audio, which is just, it all comes from love and all comes from us wanting to achieve the same thing. So I know when we're disagreeing and getting intense with each other, it's not anything personal. And the best part too is it never is personal. So, if we're on a call about Beam or something, or just talking to each other one-on-one, we can quickly transition to go grab a cup of coffee, ask about our personal lives, check on other stuff. And I think it comes from our differences too. Just, we have different intensities. We have different things that probably spike our intensity at different times. We have one of our really close friends who says, Kevin's more intense and I'm more intense. And, those different intensities, I think, just meet somewhere in the middle and allow us, I guess, to, at least so far, be somewhat effective at what we're doing.
All right, third question as we round the bases. You guys both played competitive, professional, in Matt's case, hockey, in Kevin's case, baseball. Who is, for each of you, I love these questions. They're kind of fun. Who is the biggest name or most successful player that you either played with or against, whether it be in college or minor league baseball?
Kind of a funny story, actually.
All right, Kevin, go ahead. I saw some names on Baseball Reference. I mean, there's some nice names like the Marcus Simeons of the world that you were teammates with, but go ahead.
Yeah, I forgot about Marcus. I hope he's doing. He's still playing, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was he an All-Star last year? Off the top of your head?
I believe last year he was. I know he was off to a slow start this year. The dude hits home runs.
Yeah, he's impressive. And really
anyway, no, I don't want to steal your story. Go ahead.
Oh, so Bryce Harper is. We played against him, and it's funny. I played against him in the minor leagues. I was in Kannapolis, and who was he with? Hagerstown at the time in the South Atlantic League. I think I struck him out a couple of times. I also think he may have hit a home run off me. But the funny story is, he also is a huge Beam fan. When we started Beam, he DM'd the Beam Instagram account and was like, "Hey, I've heard about your products. Can I talk to you guys?" So he's become a friend of Matt and I over the last couple of years, and he's a huge fan and
Cool.
lover of Beam. It was kind of funny how that worked out.
Yeah, and I mean that's not exactly a small name. That's pretty much on the bigger end
Yeah,
of
it's
where
a big,
it goes.
yeah, probably as big as you can get in baseball. So not to say your thunder, Matt.
Yeah. There's been a handful of guys. I played against Jonathan Taze and TJ Oshie when they're in North Dakota in some of the Frozen Fours. I've gotten to play with the Hayes brothers at BC. Cam Atkinson, who's had an amazing career in the NHL now. So they've been fortunate to play against a bunch of guys. I think some of the cool things is like some of these guys now are big Beam fans. To Kevin's point, we send Cam some products, and he's become a huge Beam fan. And it just made me think too, Kevin, how I think it was Zdeno Chara.
Oh yeah,
reached out to us also. I never played against him or with him, obviously, but he was another guy who had reached out. He's like a huge health freak, and I think that's why he's one of the guys, Joe, you mentioned, who's been able to play so late into his age. But I think it's been
we've
cool.
done so many cool things through sports, Matt. Like Matt and I, Billy Horschel's an investor in Beam on the PGA Tour. Matt and I played with him and Brooks Orpik in the NHL. We played golf with him. Beam has been such a cool. We have so many great. Danica Patrick.
We're not answering your question very well, but
no, actually it's gone to a nice direction. It's good.
Yeah, we have so many cool. Beam's been such a cool connection. Venus Williams is an investor in Beam. Like this is cool. We've just had a lot of really cool, interesting athletes like kind of just get involved in the business over the years. It's been nuts, frankly.
That's really cool. I think I interviewed Chara once in like a scrum and after a pregame skate in Boston before the Blues were playing, and I'm like, it's not fair to interview that dude when he's standing on skates.
He's a big dude.
That is a big dude. He'd be big on the, he'd be one of the bigger dudes on the mound. We'd be talking about how nobody could see the fastball.
He's like Randy Johnson size.
Like Randy Johnson, yeah.
Yeah.
We had Chris Young, who's now the GM of Texas, helped lead the Royals to a World Series. He was throwing like 88, 89, but nobody could see it. Called the good old Invisiball because of the long levers. All right, final question. My walk-off for you. You guys have talked quite a bit about the obsession. Those are my words, not yours, with the fitness side of things, with working out. I sense that Kevin's a complete madman. I'm guessing, Matt, you aren't too far off. How would you guys describe your obsession? Again, my word, with the fitness end of things.
Oh, I think Matt's got me, by the way, on that. Don't get that crooked, Joel.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So
CrossFit's become my poison of choice since hockey.
Yeah.
It's not all that different than hockey training, so I think that's probably why I gravitate towards it. And also, it's kind of my way now of getting my competitive itch into doing CrossFit classes or some online competitions, things like that, or seeing what people get in a workout and trying to beat it. And I think ultimately, like from an efficiency standpoint, it's probably the thing I found that gets you most fit in a shorter period of time. I do love running. Kevin just not totally Kevin will kick my butt in endurance stuff, and then in the CrossFit world. So that's also where we complement each other well. We can school each other in both of our workouts.
I love
Kevin,
sports.
I guess Matt's a silent assassin. Then I didn't. I misread it.
See him in person. He's got like every muscle you could possibly think of is popping out of him.
Take a lot of Beam.
But
you were saying you like you love the endurance end of things.
Yeah, and I love long distance running and biking and just getting out. It's like therapeutic too. It's good for your brain.
I love it. Endurance, I absolutely dread. I'm also not a former pro athlete, but give me some sprints, some bursts, some of that type of stuff. And, it's good to be active. I'll vouch for Beam, and, I wouldn't have had you guys on without obviously a great story, but a great product as well. And so I'll encourage everyone, check out the audio version of the podcast, check out Beam, shopbeam.com. Kevin Moran, Matt Lombardi, co-founders of Beam. Guys, really appreciate it. It's been fun. Thank you.
Yeah, it's fun. Thanks, Joel.